From Orangeville, Ontario, Canada, riding the Butter Tart 700. Welcome to the GCN Show!
Welcome to the GCN Show.
This week, are there too few official rules and too many unwritten rules in the world of gravel racing? Are the rules being broken that are official or unwritten?
Gravel racing rules, essentially, however you want to take that sentence. We'll be discussing some recent controversies, but we've also got an incredible track world record and Ollie Bridgewood dropping Alberto Contador.
On a bike?
On a bike! This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that Ashton Lambie is some sort of alien monster who is able to ride 4 kilometres in under 4 minutes. He did that last week in Aguascalientes in Mexico.
He broke the individual pursuit world record, setting a time of 3 minutes 59.930, the first ever sub 4 minute ride. A feat so impressive, I think we compare it to Roger Bannister's sub 4 minute mile, a barrier that was deemed so impossible to beat until very recently. And Lambie has done it. More on that later.
We certainly will have more on that later. We also learnt this week that Ollie Bridgewood dropped Alberto Contador. Unbelievable scenes. Now, we did allude to this on the GCN show just a couple of weeks ago, but now the Tour de Station video is out on GCN in all its glory, we can reveal the full scale of Ollie's accomplishment, which I have no doubt he's already got framed and on his wall.
Is this the end of Ollie getting dropped jokes? No, but I guess he has the ultimate comeback now because the rest of us, well, we've never dropped Alberto Contador.
Not strictly true, actually, Manon. On stage 1 of Paris-Nice in 2010, I finished in front of Contador, although maybe technically didn't drop him.
Is that framed on your wall too?
That is framed on my wall as well, yes. I also technically beat him on every single stage and the overall classification at the 2010 Tour de France after he was banned and stripped of his title.
Wow, impressive. Anyway, moving on, finally this week we learnt that John Borseman and Laurent Dicenzo have become world gravel champions.
Borseman backed up his win from the last time that the event took place in 2019, this time out-sprinting Colin Strickland at the end of the 150-mile race in Lincoln, Nebraska. But it was no surprise at all to see Dicenzo dominate the women's event, given everything that she's achieved just recently.
However, the event wasn't without its controversy. Gravel racing is often described as pure fun and not as serious as road racing, with everybody being best friends with everyone, but increasingly that doesn't seem to be the case.
No, and that will only continue, in my opinion, as gravel racing becomes bigger with more media exposure and therefore greater potential returns if you get good results. I mean, gravel racing has become so big, Manon, hasn't it, that you have just entered the British National Gravel Racing Championships.
I have, and you weren't meant to mention that, Dan.
Am I not supposed to? Well, it's too
you've already
late
said
now.
It now, so
it's too late now, but I will quickly get back on topic. Gravel racing is thriving, there's no doubt about that, particularly over in the USA. Never has there been more interest in the Unbound Gravel event, for example, as there was this year. There, in the men's race, former World Tour riders finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and there were current World Tour pros competing there too. Now, the level of interest and therefore the level of competitiveness, I think is only going to increase. So with that, will the pureness of gravel racing go out the window?
Yes, it's inevitable, isn't it? You said it yourself, Dan. The same thing happened in cross-country mountain bike in the early 90s, just before I was born, actually.
Just when were you born?
96.
If your aim was to make me feel old, you have very much just succeeded. But yes, the same thing did happen in mountain biking, because when it started, it was like the cool younger cousin of road. So pure, simple, fun, a bit like gravel racing now. But then money came into cross-country mountain biking, and then roadies got a sniff of that money, and then it became a lot more serious.
Some would say it's lost its soul, and some would say that's where gravel racing is heading now. The hashtag gravel beef started trending last week after the Gravel Worlds, which isn't an official World Championships, as it's not regulated by the UCI.
Or any other cycling governing body for that matter.
No, but the beef surrounded drafting in the women's race.
Yep, which we've seen before, haven't we, in terms of controversy. So essentially, everybody tends to start gravel races at the same time, and that means for the women's category, you can still have the advantage of slipstreaming other riders even if you're leading your own category solo.
That still tends to mean that the strongest rider wins, but the beef came after rumours circulated that male teammates of a female competitor were riding for her rather than riding their own race.
Exactly. And again, that is nothing new because we saw that a few years ago at the Unbound Gravel event, which was then known as Dirty Kansas. Other controversies have surrounded the use of aero bars and riders attacking at a feed zone when everybody had agreed to stop together. So the question is, are unwritten rules enough?
It appears not. Jeff Kabush, who is never shy of putting 2 cents in, said on Twitter that maybe some rules, a structure or a governing body might be good for gravel racing.
But maybe only for a small portion of the riders taking part. After all, this is only really affecting those at the front of the race, with the vast majority only really concerned with getting to the finish, which with the length of the events is often an achievement in itself.
Race at the front, party at the back.
Yes, exactly. And then another party when they get to the finish line.
With beef stew.
Yes, some people love a bit of beef, don't they? But I can understand the reluctance to put stringent rules in place with gravel racing. Now, one of the fallouts of cross-country mountain biking back in the day when Manon was yet to be born, of it becoming more serious, was a dwindling in the overall participation. So as it got more serious and more expensive to enter races, participant numbers fell. With thousands of people, though, currently riding these gravel events right now, the last thing I'd imagine those organisers want is to lose all but the fastest riders.
Exactly, because in these gravel events, which aren't generally televised, the fastest riders at the front are no more important than the riders at the back.
Exactly. So where do we go from here? Well, I can only see this going in one direction. The front of the race is only going to get more and more competitive in gravel events. So if we want to stop the bitching, some rules need to be put in place right now.
Like in road racing, you mean, where there's no bitching over anything whatsoever?
Well, that is a very good point. There are a lot of UCI rules in road racing, aren't there?
A little bit
there is
too many.
Still quite a lot of bitching. Yeah, I see what you mean. As ever, though, our viewers at home probably have a better answer to these questions than we do here. So where do you think gravel racing and mass participation rides are heading? Should there be more rules? Is it fine as it is? Do you like a bit of beef? Let us know in the comment section down below. GCN Inspiration now. We've picked our favourite 3 photos uploaded to the app over the last week. Starting with, in 3rd place, winning a Top Peak Mini 10 multi-tool, Liz and Rich. North Wales on a beautiful sunny day. Following the coastal path, it's not always sideways rain. Well, it's not just not raining, there's not a cloud in the sky right there.
Wales at its best, that.
Proper gravel riding. Well, it's not even gravel riding, that's just using a gravel bike on grass by the looks of things.
Yeah, just
doesn't look like a nice day though.
Lovely. In 2nd place this week, winning a GCN Black Court trucker cap, GCN striped t-shirt and a pair of socks is Joe Austin 03. I've spent my summer ticking off as many climbs from Simon Warren's book as possible. Tonight has been my favourite so far, the Grim near Llangollen. Nothing grim about these views though. Again, Wales at its best.
2 pictures from Wales with sunshine out. What are the chances of that?
And I didn't pick these this week, so...
I don't believe you. Well, you probably had some sort of influence on whoever did then. Well, it's a cracking photo though.
Yeah,
and another gravel bike on grass. There's some sort of theme going on this week's show.
That's not a gravel bike.
Oh, it's just a road bike, is it? Oh yeah, now I zoom in.
Clearly don't know your gravel, do you?
I'm old enough to need glasses, I just haven't got any. First prize though this week is a Gcn Cool Blue sweatshirt, Gcn's Essential Guide to Bike Maintenance, a Gcn Elite Stainless Steel Thermal Bottle and a Gcn Elite Fly 950ml bottle. Oh. A lot of prizes.
I was just about to say, the prizes are cracking this week.
The winner is Charita, or Charitha. Summer holiday cycling adventure, heading towards famous Trollstigen climb from Andalsnes in Norway. I looked that up.
I was just going to say, I don't think that's in Wales.
No. Well, I mean, there's mountains that size in Wales, isn't there? What makes you...
I haven't been up those, but...
Well, nevertheless, it's another cracking photo and a worthy winner of the top prize this week. Do you know what? We have had the Arctic Race of Norway and the Women's Tour of Norway and also the Men's Tour of Norway over the last couple of weeks. We have them every year, but it always amazes me, the stunning scenery in that country. Yeah. All the way through it. It's absolutely magnificent, isn't it?
I did the Tour of Norway. Very beautiful.
Did you?
Can confirm, yeah.
If you take some photos of it at the time, you could have uploaded them to the GCN App. And...
Don't think the UCI would allow that.
No. But yeah, it's an absolutely stunning country, and you'd be hard-pushed to find a part of it where you wouldn't be able to capture an inspirational photo with your bike. So if you're in Norway, get snapping.
Or if you're in Wales, get snapping.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can have many more Welsh ones next week. Otherwise, it's going to start seeming like we're biased in some ways. And if you would like to get involved, all you've got to do is upload your photo or video to the Gcn App. We'll pick 3 more next week.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now, and let's start with some Lego.
Not something I was ever expecting you to say after what you said a couple of weeks ago, Manon.
Well, I've been really getting into my Lego recently, Dan. I can't believe how wrong I was about Lego. I now spend my spare time building Lego, thinking about Lego, searching Lego on the internet. Talking of which, I came across this mighty fine build on Twitter by Sleepy Cow Lego, a bike made entirely out of Lego. And not only does it look really cool, it's fully functional.
You've also said Lego more times in the past 30 seconds than in the rest of your life put together.
Just love Lego.
Anyway, this is fantastic. It's got a full working drivetrain, functional freewheel mechanism, pneumatic front and rear disc brakes, and all the details on the bike as well.
Wow. I know it's a little small, but what happens if we actually got one a little bit bigger? Would it actually be rideable? Could you ride that out on the road?
I guess there's only one way to find out, isn't there?
Yeah, well, if anybody wants to build a size 51 Lego bike, that would be great.
Yeah, Manon would love it. We've made you a Lego convert, haven't we?
I know, you have. And talking about which, we're about to make you a Zwift convert.
Yes, potentially. We shall see. So this is about the Zwift Academy, which is back again this year. I am going to be taking part. Last year's male winner, Jay Vine of Australia, is currently racing at the Vuelta España. So I thought to myself, if he can do it, why can't I?
How long have you got for me to answer that question, Dan?
Probably not long enough. But yes, I will be throwing my leg over a stationary bike. Now, for those of you who are unaware of what the Zwift Academy is all about, it is basically a worldwide talent ID which has placed multiple riders in World Tour teams over the past few years.
For those of you who are even more confused now as to why Dan is taking part, it's also part of a global training program for cyclists of all levels.
Yeah, which includes me. So I'll be seeing what sort of level I can start at and what sort of level I can get up to. I'll be beginning with some benchmark fitness testing on their Zwift program.
To see how bad things have really got.
Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of the point of benchmark testing, isn't it? But you never know. I might be able to break some unwritten rules in the world of gravel biking soon and pace you around some of the British National Championships if all goes to plan.
It would have to go very well anyway. If you'd like to join Dan and the 400,000 other participants that Zwift are expecting this year, you can find the details in the description below.
Anyway, back to that world record now set by Ashton Lambie in the incredible time of 3:59.953 for a 4-kilometre individual pursuit. That is 16 laps of a 250 metre long track in under 4 minutes, which is mind-blowing. So the track he used is in Aguascalientes in Mexico, and it's at altitude, and it's the same venue that was used by Victor Campenaerts to break the world hour record a few years ago.
He also had some very fancy kit on his bike too, including a 64x15 gearing. And a 64 is basically the size of a very big dinner plate. Well done, Ashton, and I can't see that record being broken for a while.
Well, you say that, but the man he beat, Filippo Ganna, has already said he wants his record back.
Oh, really?
And also that he would like to do his at sea level. If anyone can, Ganna can.
Nice. Anyway, moving on to one of the world's biggest sporting stars, Anthony Joshua has set up his new rider management agency. Joshua has already got a sports management agency looking after other athletes, but now wants to take a step into cycling.
Yep, the agency's already got some really talented riders on board, including the young siblings Finn and Niamh Fisher-Black, Sarah Gigante, and also Leo Hayter, who I think is the brother of Ethan, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Olympic champion. Were you ever good enough to have an agent, Dan?
I was good enough to have an agent, but unfortunately my agent was not good enough to get me another job. But I might well be giving Anthony Joshua a quick call if the Zwift Academy all goes to plan.
You never know.
No.
You never know.
In far more serious news now, a fund has been set up to help female Afghan cyclists evacuate the country in the wake of the Taliban gaining control of it.
Women's cycling has been thriving in the country in recent years. Although it hasn't always been safe, the numbers were rising. And the fear is that females will no longer be able to ride outside at all.
Which really puts into context just how lucky the rest of us are, doesn't it? Masama Alizada was actually recently competing at the Olympic Games individual time trial in Tokyo for the Olympic refugees team, and she spoke extremely eloquently of the situation that she and her countrywomen have faced in recent times, a situation that unfortunately is likely to worsen in light of recent developments over there.
So if you'd like to donate, head to the link that we've posted in the description below. They've currently raised $25,000 of the $100,000 aim.
Yeah. A thoroughly worthy cause if you've got some spare cash to give. And talking of thoroughly worthy causes, Phil Buchan recently took part in the Great Rugby Cycle, 1,000 miles in 10 days around Ireland, which has raised over £75,000 for the My Name's Dolly Foundation. That funds research to cure motor neuron disease.
What makes Phil's ride more inspiring is that he lost one of his legs in an accident in 2017. Realising that the less weight through his leg the better, he decided to lose weight through cycling, starting by watching GCN videos and purchasing a bike only last July.
And so, to complete 1,000 miles in 10 days with one leg is really exceptional, and all for a great cause. Brilliant stuff, well done. Right, we will finish Cycling Shorts by handing over to ultra endurance legend Mark Beaumont, who recently finished the GB Duro.
Hello GCN! If you're unfamiliar with this epic gravel race, it's nearly 2,000 kilometres from Land's End to John O'Groats. A lot of it off-road. This year, it's back to just being self-supported, self-sufficient. So I'm on a gravel bike, kitted out with bike packing bags, going as light as I can.
John O'Groats, a place I know well, but I don't think I've ever felt quite so wrecked here. That was a hell of a night, an absolute hell of a night. On my ride, I knew I had to slash my sidewall, which I rode super gently on for the first half, which was the off-road, like really tough section. That's a long way to ride like that. And then I ran out of food. So, oh, here's two more finishers. Hey!
Hack / bodge of the week now.
You tried to get me out there again, didn't
Every
you?
time I try. You were a little bit slower this week,
I was.
but not that slow. Starting with Oliver Madden. Wrong Allen key, no problem. Rear axle came loose in a ride, multi-tool wasn't deep enough for the hex. I managed to find help, but they only had Imperial Allen keys. A quick jiggery pokery and I was able to fashion an Allen key that fitted. And it stood up for the 40-kilometre ride home. What do you reckon?
I'm not sure.
I'm surprised it did, because there's not much purchase on the end of the Allen keys when you've got them in there that way around. But if it did manage to get you home, fair enough, I would say. That would be a hack from me, just to get yourself
I feel
home.
like it'd either like jam, or you just, would you not round them off, or just, I don't know.
Well, he did it enough just to get the through axle tight enough to get him home. You'd be worried all the way home though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
Although
would.
it is the rear wheel.
God, I always have nightmares about my wheels falling out of rides.
Do you?
Yeah. Do you?
No.
No, I do. Yeah. Just me.
Cool story, bro. Well, I've said hack. What are you saying?
Bodge from me, sorry.
Well, you are with the majority of people just about. 53% went with bodge, should I say, for that one.
Fair. Anyway, moving on to Marcello. Snapped my Di2 battery holder halfway through a descent with 50 kilometres to go, left at the side of the road with no tape or zip ties. This is the best idea we got. With a spare inner tube, against all odds, it turned out to be quite a hack, since it brought us home.
It's quite the knotting system you've got in place there, Marcello. I think if that had been me, it would have simply been wrapped around the down tube with a really cumbersome knot on top of it. It looks reasonably neat.
It does,
for
actually.
an inner tube bodge like that.
Yeah.
Should have gone out with zip ties. Always recommended in your saddlebag in case of emergencies. But with the tools that you had at your disposal, I would say that is a hack.
If it works, it's a hack, yeah. 68% hack, actually.
Yeah. So just over 2/3 of people going with hack for that one. Meanwhile, Sankt Johansa, upon trying to remove the old bottom bracket, I discovered it didn't matter how much upper body strength I had, I just wasn't able to get the leverage I needed to remove it. The idea isn't originally mine, but I had to sort of make a hack of the hack because I didn't have all the tools. So I placed the bottom bracket tool with the wrench on one side and a plank of wood on the other and clamped it all together with a C-clamp to create enough pressure so the tool didn't slip. Not so easy with only two hands, with more finesse and strength, I eventually got it out. What do you make of that, Manon?
Yeah.
You going for hack?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon that would be a hack.
Or you could just have a more upper body strength.
Yeah, well, you know what us cyclists are like, at least me, and Sankt as well. Not much upper body strength, and so that was the best option, and it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably didn't have time to go to the gym for a few weeks. He needed his bottom bracket out now.
Yeah,
I'll go with hack for that as well.
Yeah.
And 74% of you went with hack for that one.
Yeah. Nice. Next up could be a cube. Other people have probably figured this out, but you can seat the bed of tubeless tyre if you have a regular pump and a ratcheting strap.
Oh, I see. So the ratcheting strap has been put all the way around the circumference of the tyre to keep it seated, and then you inflate it with a normal track pump and the bead is seated in the rim.
Ah.
Wow.
Quite clever. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Well, pretty much every hack and bodge we have, I wouldn't have thought
No,
of.
that is
I still judge
true.
it hack or bodge, but that one I'm going with hack, definitely.
Yeah, definitely a hack, and it was actually 91% that said hack. That's a lot of
Vast
hacks.
majority. Next up, Fabian Schneeberg. On a long ride in France during the descent from the Col de la Croix de Fer, the spring in my rear derailleur broke and left me unable to shift into bigger gears. After the Col de Mola, he's just name-dropping climbs here, we found a bike shop, but they didn't have any spare derailleur springs. They used rubber bands to fix it. Surprisingly, this worked well until our return to Grenoble 2 days later and maintained shifting for somewhat over 280 Ks and more than 7,500 metres of climbing.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
Why pay all this money for components when you could just use a rubber band?
Yeah, Shimano, just use a rubber band
Yeah,
instead of
don't need a spring.
I mean, the person at that bike shop deserves a pay rise, I think.
I mean, and that's some impressive wrapping round and getting it just right.
Yeah, you thought the inner tube knotting was impressive.
Yeah,
Check this
this is
elastic
next
band
level.
out. Well, that's definitely a hack from me.
I'm going hack with that too,
I mean,
yeah.
most people would have just been happy to stay in one gear, wouldn't
I
they?
would have just got the taxi home. I wouldn't even have bothered.
Not interested in hacks or bodges, just get me home in a car.
Literally.
Yeah, well done. 63%. I'm surprised that's as low as it is.
Yeah.
63% went with hack.
They clearly just didn't read all the caption, did they? Like 280 kilometres on that.
Yeah, and the ability to still shift through most of your gears. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Well, moving on to more rubber bands now, and this one is in from Yoda1. To prevent my bike from rolling and tipping over when parked outside a cafe or on a break during a ride, I always carry a rubber band in my saddlebag, and I can use it as a handbrake. Cheap insurance against damage. It has never crossed my mind that I needed a handbrake
No.
on my bike.
I mean, what I tend to do if I stop is to keep my bike on flat ground so that
Yeah.
it can't roll away.
Or just like turn the wheel a little bit so it's...
Yeah, perch the back wheel against something solid.
Excuse me,
Normally
wait
works.
with that, just need to put my handbrake on.
I mean, we are talking as two people privileged enough to be donated bikes. And so
true.
we haven't had to pay for our own for quite a long time.
Yeah.
We probably would take, but I still don't know if I would use a rubber band.
Surely there's a... Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say bodge. Just because you don't need it.
No, I don't think it's essential.
No, you're going to say
No.
bodge as well?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go bodge as well.
We might have upset a lot of people. I'm not sure. Wait and see what they say in the comments below when the show comes out. Well, 72% people said it was a hack.
That's a
More
lot.
people said this elastic band was a hack than the previous one. What's going on?
Yeah. Elastic bands are the way forward, though.
I'm really worried now that we're going to upset a few people.
Should we go back? Backtrack?
Yeah, well...
I'm going to say hack.
Yeah, I'd say hack for that one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely
What
hack.
a hack. That was, I mean, I can't believe it's not more unanimous than that, than 72%. Anyway, those are the hacks and bodges for this week. The ones for next week are already on the app. You can vote on them now. And if you'd like to get involved for 2 weeks' time, upload your hacks and bodges to the GCN app.
It's now time for Caption Competition, your chance to win a GCN Elite water bottle. And all you have to do is leave the very best caption under the photo we give you. We've got quite a good winner from last week, haven't we?
Quite a good winner. My goodness, this is genius. Here's the photo from the podium of La Vuelta and Jasper Philipsen last week. The winner is Pablo Lopez. Caption, "Come on, Ollie, take my hand. How on earth have you been dropped down there?"
The Ollie getting drop jokes, they're never stopping, are
No,
they?
they won't stop. Despite him dropping Alberto Contador, we should continue in the same vein, I think.
We will.
Until he hits us. And even probably carry on after that. That is a very well-deserved elite water bottle, Pablo. Get in touch with us on Facebook and we shall get that out to you as soon as we possibly can. This week's photo also comes from La Vuelta. This is Rafael Majka getting a feed from his soigneur. I will get you started. "I asked for 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, please." A reference to a sitcom here in the UK that is way before Manon's time and not relevant to any of you outside of the UK.
That makes sense. Why didn't get
More
that?
sense than the caption. It's the best I had though this week. I was
That's better than
disappointed
anything
myself,
I
to be
had.
honest.
Yeah.
Even when you don't laugh normally, I'm still quite happy with what I've done. But this week, you didn't laugh and I'm not happy with it.
I mean, he's only got one hand. Well, he could go non-handed to grab 2 bottles, but...
Yeah, I don't know why he's been given 2 water bottles. Anyway, leave your best captions in the comments below. We'll pick a winner next week. Comment of the week now, just before we get on to what's coming up on GCN over the next 7 days. And we're going to start with a couple of comments that came underneath the Tour de Station video, where we will remind you, Ollie dropped Alberto Contador. First up from Panos Savas, "Give that man a GCN water bottle for cycling inspiration. He's earned it." He really did earn it. Give him his due.
Send us your details on Facebook, Ollie, and we'll get that bottle right out to you.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, he did a
play to him.
fantastic ride, really, that day.
He did. Another comment under the same video from Nigel. "No more Ollie jokes, just 100% respect for that, plus beating the great Alberto Contador." Wow.
Yeah.
We're never going to hear the end of this. But
No.
the Ollie jokes, they're still going to be there, sorry.
Well, they
They're
will
never
be,
gonna-
yeah. Under Never Too Old to Cycle, Paul Scott wrote in saying, "Good idea sending Colin to make the video. Ollie probably would have got dropped."
For
There
example.
you go.
But there were actually some very inspirational comments underneath that video too, including this one from Shelley. "This is so inspirational to me. I am 68 and post several heart attacks and other physical issues. I was practically grave-bound. I found cycling, got into it slowly and never looked back. I recently completed my first 2 half-centuries in a row. Cycling gave me my life back and I am addicted."
One of the many great stories about cycling.
There
isn't
were
it?
so many under that, which was so heartwarming to see.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. It's such a fantastic sport. Well done to you, Shelley, in particular. Meanwhile, under GCN's Daycare Challenge, Woden the Wanderer, "Brilliant. He likes picking his nose and dislikes brushing his teeth. A man after my own heart. Well done, little fellow." Are you talking about Jesse or
Yeah,
Alex?
Jesse's some guy. And a comment from Alex at 6 minutes 33. "Alex hasn't quite learned how to be a parent yet."
Should we watch that?
Yeah.
That was me! It was me! Alex won! Oh, Alex won. Well done, Alex. I'm so glad I beat a father and child combo. Well done, Alex.
It's not how you do it, is it?
Well, no, that is exactly how I do it, Manon.
Really?
Yeah, well, you have to teach your kids the ways of the world, you know.
It's true, but it can't be too harsh, can you?
My kids in particular need to learn that they're not going to win very much when they're older if they take after me.
That is
Plus,
true, yeah.
It's an easy win for me.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can do it differently with your kids,
Yeah.
if you so wish, at some point. Anyway, let's tell you what's coming up on GCN this week. On Wednesday, we'll let you know good habits, should I say, that all cyclists should have. On Thursday, it's the tech show, and then on Friday, Strava mapping. So Si and Alex set out to ride 160 kilometres off-road on gravel bikes using Strava's intelligent route plotting tool. You can see how they got on.
And on Saturday, we've got a double century ride from Connor and Ollie. They rode from Bath to the Isle of Wight, did a lap of the island, and then rode back.
They must have come very close to my house, actually, doing that.
Did they pop in?
They didn't know. I might have been away on holiday. Monday is, of course, the racing news show. And talking of racing, there's a lot of it on right now. So this week alone, we've got the second week of La Vuelta a España. We've also got a couple of one-day races this weekend, the Brussels Cycling Classic and the Breton Classic. I've got the Deutschland Tour starting on Thursday, and actually already started today by the time you watch this, the next round of the Women's World Tour, which is the CIMAC Ladies Tour. Some of those do have territory restrictions, so do make sure you check what is available where you are before you sign up for a subscription if you haven't done so already. Beyond all of that, we've got another documentary which will also be out by the time you watch this. It's our latest Legends film, this time featuring a legend that is Jens Vogt. You know that's going to be a very interesting one, so I thoroughly recommend watching that. But that, I think, is just about all for this week's GCN show. We hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to let us know your thoughts on gravel rules. Should there be more, or is it just fine as it is?
Should we write the gravel rules?
We could do. Should we come up with them for next week's show?
Yeah.
Could be a long one. I've got a lot of rules I want to put in.
Beef stew.
Yeah, write your rules down below. Top 10 rules, and we might come back with them soon.
Nice.